Only just this week, Uber settled a case with a woman here in Melbourne about several guide dog refusals. Let's discuss that.
Data Australasia. Guided by lived experience, led by you.
Welcome back and thanks for joining me. I'm Elise Lonsdale. Now, we've talked about this before on the videos about the guide dog refusals. It's not acceptable, I'm sorry, but it just is not. And only this week, Uber settled a claim, so we probably don't know for how much, by a lady in Melbourne who I think registered something like about 5 or so, probably even more, guide dog refusals, a blind woman in Melbourne. Now, we've seen this right across the board in Sydney, Brisbane, all over the shop, and it still is happening, sadly. As part of the settlement, Uber has agreed to conduct a internal investigation as to the uses of the service provided to people with assistance animals, with the findings to be released in 2028. 2028. Well, by my calendar, that's 2 years from now. We're at the beginning of 2026. Why will it need to take 2 years for Uber to launch this internal investigation? And then the findings. What are we going to get in this report? Will it be accessible? Will it just be a whitewash? Or will it be something that will enable the disability community, whether they're using guide dogs or other assistance animals, to be really feeling comfortable with this service? Because let's think about this. Uber's an outfit from overseas. So they're going to have to probably put in a special thing for Australia and probably not practice it in countries like India or even the United States or where they come from, some European country. So the upshot is this will be probably something unique to Australia, but in my opinion should be worldwide. So what's going to happen? Why do we have to wait 2 years? Why can't we see some action now? Hopefully they just haven't pushed it under the carpet for 2 years, and in 2 years' time maybe they'll go, yeah, we did have to do something, so we'll just knock up something really quick. I would like to see some action in the respect of we're actually making progress. So, halfway through 2026, I'd like to see some movement from Uber as we move through 2027. I would like to see some, we're investigating this and we're writing that and we're going to publish this. We've had some communications with our drivers and we're offering our drivers better training. Because like I said in the previous video that addressed this issue, look, some people come to Australia from cultures that do not like guide dogs. They've got religious reasons. They believe dogs are unclean. And in some countries, such as India, dogs have got rabies. Dogs are mangy. Dogs are not clean. And as I said on one of my groups last night, here in Australia, I grew up with stray dogs around the suburbs in the 1960s and 70s. But since dog registration and pet registrations come in the 80s and the 90s, there are far fewer stray animals. People take care of their animals better. They have them vaccinated. Most people who have pets have them vaccinated. It's darn right expensive to get a dog from a shelter these days. I have a friend of mine who's had 2 rescue dogs, and they're darn expensive. But because they're vaccinating those dogs, they're making sure the dogs are clean and healthy and able to go out into the community and not spread disease. Now, of course, the stakes are higher when you talk about guide dogs, Labradors and Golden Retrievers. They're looked after by the guide dog schools. And here in Victoria, our school, one of the schools is actually just down the road from me, and they have a very good whelping unit with quarantine. We could only get to the front door of the nursery. We weren't allowed any further because they are so stringent about the way they breed their dogs and what those puppies are exposed to in the beginning part of their life. It's only when they're several weeks old that they will bring them out to show people. And we took some kids to Guide Dogs Victoria last year and had them pat the puppies and mix with the puppies. But those puppies were old enough. They're bred, well bred, and CEDA does a similar sort of thing. So our guide dog schools here in Australia are well practiced at making, breeding is the word I'm looking for, breeding healthy, clean animals. Only last year I was helping a friend into a taxi and he said, put the guide dog the other way, the dog will bite. I said, no. I said, that is a guide dog, and the reason it's a guide dog is because it doesn't bite. So people from these Eastern cultures are frightened of being bitten by a dog because being bitten by a dog could spell an unhealthy future for them with rabies, etc. These diseases can be transferable. Not so in Australia, and like I have said, many people come to this country and their qualifications may not be recognised here, or they may not have had the opportunity to gain a qualification in their country of origin, so they wind up driving Ubers and taxis. Well, like I said 6 months ago when I last made a video like this, welcome to our country, but if you are frightened of dogs, or if you have a religious aversion to dogs, that's fine. Then maybe transport and hospitality isn't the right vocation for you. Because we in the guide dog fraternity do not need, or in the blindness fraternity do not need the stress. The people who we care about, I don't need to be worried about my friend who might be waiting on a street corner to go home from work refused a guide dog, especially if the sun is already set and it's after dark, of they're trying to do rehearsals, of people are coming home from concerts. Just the other day, we had somebody who couldn't go to a concert the other day on the grounds that they were too stressed because they had a guide dog refusal on an earlier trip that day. So it does have a profound effect on our community. It really, really does. The call to action for me is basically for me to let people know that I think it's up to the guide dog schools now, both CEDA, which is Seeing Eye Dogs Australia, and our network of Guide Dogs Australia, which is the state-based outfits like GDV and GDQ and GDNSW, GDWA, Guide Dogs WA, Guide Dogs SA, that sort of band together to make Guide Dogs Australia. They've all got quite well-run public relations units, and they know how to use them. And a lot of the publications we see from these guide dog outfits, it's all about, oh, nice fluffy puppies. Guide dogs and kids, puppies and kids sell blindness. Yep, it's harsh to say, but that's what it is. To sell blindness, the agencies peddle out the kids and peddle out the puppies. Wouldn't it be nice if the guide dog outfits are watching this video to think about putting some effort into public education and training and helping our people who have come from overseas, or people for whatever reason who aren't aware of the law, to become guide dog savvy. What to do if somebody calls an Uber and gets in with a dog? Should we in the blind community have to disclose that first by putting it on our accounts? That's a debatable issue. That doesn't sit comfortably with me, because the law says you can get into a rideshare vehicle, a taxi, or even go to a restaurant with a guide dog and not have to live in fear of the refusal. In the next video, hopefully I'll have looked up the fines, but I believe they're quite extensive. So the call to action is to the guide dog schools: educate the public, educate the drivers, educate the restaurateurs. And the next call to action would be for the government to reinforce those laws should people not comply with them. I'm Elise Lonsdale. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.
For fast, efficient access technology training and support, call Elise Lonsdale from Australia 0448 966 533. That's 0448 966 533. Or from New Zealand on 027 315 2858. That's 027 315 2858. Data Australasia. Guided by lived experience, led by you.